bluntly, he may be the reason why y'all lost Game 6. So
yeah, I mean,
like he couldn't hit a shot to save his life.
2016 Livingston solves a lot of problems on that team, and I mean that's what they said. That was essentially Bob Meyer's exit interview after the thing is we got to get younger like real fast, and damn they have. Like it's just.
I love the draft picks too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can get started. I didn't mean to derail us. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
It's fine because we've already been live. So all I got to do is just set up get your Audacity up and we'll start it.
Hey, it's already up, bub. I'm ready to press record. What's up?
Look at you. Look at you.
Now if we could just get you to send in your audio on time, we'd be solid.
Eat a dick, Shannon. I don't know if you've seen this hat, Zach. Hold on.
Oh, that's sick.
Dude, that Mother's Day that Mother's Day Braves hat for $20. What up, man?
It's flossy. I like
it. Did you see that, Shannon?
I did. It looks cool. I liked it a lot.
They had the batting practice hats with the old school Atlanta A on it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But they didn't have my size because, gosh, I have to have the biggest dome possible.
I'm living in that 7 3/4 world. Like.
Oh yeah. That's right. You and I are the same size.
I know these struggles.
7 or an 8 is too big. 7 7/8 is too big. It has to be 7 3/4.
And like 6/8 is just too snug.
I've never seen a 6/8.
Or no, 5/8. 5/8.
Yeah. Oh yes, it's too snug.
5/8 is just too snug.
After an hour wearing it, I feel like I have a headache.
Yeah. Well, I've had a few, and I end up just putting them like I put the back of it against my knee and pull really hard until I hear the plastic break, and then they fit pretty okay. But yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you a question on the air. I know the answer is gonna be no, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. So
okay, sweet. Good
All
talk.
Right. Are we ready?
Yep.
Okay, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
Oh, son of a bitch. Hold on. I gotta stop it because for something happened with my Audacity.
God damn it.
I know. So, I'm sorry.
Hey, Shannon.
That's my one time I get to make fun of you because usually it's me. So
I know, right? Lay into it. It's all right. Roast me. Okay, here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. God damn it! Hold on. Let me close. Dude, I don't know what's going on with my Audacity. Hold on. Let me open. I just closed it. I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna open it up again.
Are you high? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Also high, but
yeah, I was gonna say I just put on some CBD muscle rub, and it's I didn't know you weren't supposed to ingest it.
I didn't know you couldn't smoke it.
Okay, let's try this again.
3,
2, 1, go. There it is. All right.
Okay. Okay, and we're good?
Yep, we're good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to That Pixel Life. This is episode 58 for July 9th, 2019. And, we're going to do something a little different today instead of our standard what you've been playing, whatnot. I saw a thing on Twitter that I kind of wanted to come across with our group, and I think it's a fun topic, is essentially what games do you have that you've played that you would consider a 10 out of 10? Now, I'm not necessarily saying that they're perfect games. I don't think any game is quote unquote perfect, but just games that in your mind stand out 10 out of 10s. You couldn't recommend it enough. So that's what we're going to do today instead of what you've been playing. And to help me with this challenge, as always, I have Mr. Shannon Moore.
Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
I'm all right. Just getting back into the swing of things after this long weekend.
Yeah, my weekend was not long. It sucked. But
I'm sorry. Well, my weekend was just long enough to where I actually missed work. If that makes any sense.
Wow. I can't relate. So
yeah.
All right. Maybe I'm the weird one. I got it.
Yeah. And apparently my dog can't relate either because he really made Murphy angry. Listen to that. Jeez. Wow. Murphy, calm down. It's just Shannon.
That's what I do. I just piss everybody off. You, Robbie, like all of
it. It's just Shannon being crazy.
You haven't upset me.
Not yet. And Mr. Robert Steltenpool has joined us. Hi, Robbie.
Hey, man.
How you doing?
Man, I'm doing well.
Good. Mr. Robert Steltenpool is also not going to be joining us next week because he will be finally finishing school.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like we've been saying something along those lines for 4 years now, but you know.
So is Lisa.
Yeah.
Are you afraid to go out into like the not school life? Like, is that what you just keep finding classes that you want to take?
It's funny that you say that because so I have a few professors who have been pushing me for about 2 years now to next year or in the fall to go ahead and start my PhD. And I'm not going to lie, I considered it. But then my wise, beautiful wife was like, shut up, you idiot. Take a year off and think about it before you just jump right in. But she also accuses me of being a lifelong student. She's like, I'm just going to find whatever way possible. Like, I'm going to find a community college to just take some classes later just for the heck of it.
You're Chris Farley and Tommy Boy. Like, a lot of people graduate in 7 years. Yeah,
they're called doctors.
Yeah, exactly.
Fun fact, that is my favorite comedy of all time, and I can literally quote the entire movie.
Oh, like, what'd you do? Yeah, it's great. It's classic.
I could get a really good look at a T-bone by shoving my head up.
That's great.
Oh my gosh! And my wife had never seen the movie till we met.
Really?
Yeah, she's never seen Rudy either.
What?
Well, I mean, that's that. I mean,
Zach, you be careful.
I mean, that's
nice.
That isn't that shocking to me that a woman out in the world on her own doesn't know Rudy.
Whose father doesn't give a crap about sports.
Yeah, totally.
Like, her entire life, her father told her to marry a fisherman, not a golfer. And one of the first few questions he asked me, he's like, "So, son, are you a golfer or are you a fisherman?" I was like, "But both." He's like, "No, you can't be both." I was like, "Yeah, actually, I can. Like, look, we can go fish and then we can go play a round of golf." And so, like, her dad knows literally nothing about sports. However, he has really tried to connect with me with video games. Like, he has no idea about what's going on now, but he owns he owns 3 original Ataris, like the ones with the wood paneling and everything. And
dude,
and he has a huge bag of games, and about 2 years ago he gave all of it to me.
That's awesome.
He just said, "Robbie, here, have this." And then he had these when he was a kid, obviously.
And so what? You got like $100 for it on eBay or something? Or?
No, I've kept them.
Just kidding.
I'm gonna keep them probably forever. It's just because he gave them to me. Like, that's a cool thing. But he has this one really cool thing. Where one game is in a little sandwich bag, and it says "my favorite game," and it's from whenever he was a kid. And I think it's like some kind of Ace Pilot game, like
nice.
Or some kind of pilot game. Anyway, I have no idea why I diatribed off on that, but my father-in-law does not like sports. He loves shooting things and catching fish.
Well, I mean, so my theory when it comes to let's say marksmanship or fishing or golfing or bowling or anything like this is those are sports until someone starts drinking or smoking. Then they become games. That there are sports until someone imbibes in a vice, and at that moment they are games. Like that's fair. That's what I think the dividing line is. But
I wanted to tell you something, Zach, that I thought you'd appreciate. Okay, so I have that, and I have a question for you.
Okay.
First thing is, I am going to play my first Castlevania game here in the next week or two, whenever I get a chance.
Okay.
But Castlevania Symphony of the Night is available on Games of Gold.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never played a Castlevania game.
Like of any type?
I think I played it. I tried to play a couple when they were on like the old school consoles, and I was like, no, this isn't really my thing. And I'm not really a big, as we know, big platformer guy. But I'm going to give this freaking game a chance. Like,
I don't know how that's going to go for you. I'll be totally honest. Like, so I'm sure you've heard a lot of people expound upon Symphony of the Night. And
it's like I get told it's like one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah. And so not to walk over retread ground here, but people say a lot of the same things about Final Fantasy VII. And if you didn't grow up playing Final Fantasy VII and have this wonderful, just 80-pound ball and chain of nostalgia that you drag around for that game every place you go, you kind of see that game isn't all that good in today's world.
Same thing with GoldenEye. Same with GoldenEye.
Now I'm not. Yeah, GoldenEye, like a lot of these games that I loved. But when you fire them up, like that's kind of why I stopped being interested in retro consoles, because I started firing up these games that like I have these soft spots for from when I was a kid and going like, oh, this game kind of sucks. Oh, damn. Like maybe I should have left that one in the memories, you know?
Maybe I should have left that in the rearview mirror.
Yeah. But it's also one of those things like Symphony of the Night is still a really good game. Like Final Fantasy, I'm sure you think is a really good game. And it's but like just gaming in general has changed so much that game's 20 years old now, and so things like just in platforming have changed so much that, and a lot of it is bitten and stolen from Symphony of the Night but it's also improved on it. So it's one of those things where like I'm sure you'll probably enjoy it. It's still a really, really good game. But I don't know if it's going to be this like, wow, what a great experience game that a lot of people talk about it as, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm curious.
Honestly, I could seriously see that. I just want to give it a chance.
Oh no, I'm with you. Like it's worth playing. Like it absolutely 100% worth playing. If for no other reason, so you can play it and go like, oh wow, this is totally where this game got that idea. Oh, okay. I can totally see where this game took this concept and ran with it. You know, like it does that a lot. It like BioShock in that way, where like after BioShock, you see so many other games use concepts and ideas that Ken Levine's team did. And it like gaming has these, generational placeholders where like everything's different after that game comes out. And Gears of War was one of them. BioShock was one of them. Symphony of the Night is one of them. So it's worth playing just for that reason, if nothing else. Yeah.
Well, we're going to give it a chance.
All right. Well, what's your question?
Oh, crap.
You had a question for me.
I did have a question for you. And it was a good question.
Why do I love creature movies so much? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Creature movies are awesome.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, well then, just randomly in the middle of the podcast, when I remember, I will. I'll interrupt everything and I'll ask you that question.
Sounds good. I like it.
All right, cool.
But yeah, I don't know if you caught last week's show, but I decided that I'm going to go see Crawl. Well, actually, my wife decided.
Dude, I'm going to see Crawl.
Yeah, and fuck, I love those type of movies.
Wait, hold on really quickly. Speaking of movies, did y'all see Far From Home?
No.
Mother of God.
We were supposed to go Saturday, and then I had a commitment that I had totally forgotten
Somebody had plans. Somebody ditched my ass to go do some stupid...
I had every intention of quickly getting us through this podcast very quickly. And I was going to be rude about it. Just so we could have the spoiler cast part at the end, and we talk about the greatest Spider-Man movie ever made.
Well, we could do that next week.
Yeah, you can do that next week. For sure.
And then I'm gonna come. I got some comments from Maurice. I got some because I saw his post. I got some comments from you, sir. Not attacking, just I would like to break down his breakdown of Far From Home because I fundamentally disagree.
This sounds like some Facebook group beef. We're going to sizzling.
Let's go.
These hot takes got this beef cooking on medium rare.
I really want to remember the question I had for you. Dadgummit.
How'd I get to be so awesome? I don't know, man. I was just born this way.
I don't know, man. All right. Let's see. Just keep going.
All right. But yeah, so last week's episode got me to rewatch Secret of Nim last week. And
so good.
It's just as good as I remember, and B, fuck, that movie's twisted. Like, god damn, there's just so much you miss as a kid, and granted it'd been 10 something years since I've seen it, but yeah, I mean, we touched on it last week, so we don't have to go into it again, but just the tractor sequence, the burning her hands to lift the concrete block out of the mud, the whole rat testing sequence is even worse than I remembered it being. But man, what a movie.
I found the question. Do you possibly have a copy of NCAA 2014 college football?
It is possible, actually, that I do. It'd be in my attic if I did. But
if you do, could I borrow it?
Yeah, for sure.
You want to hear why?
Lay it on me. I
went today because I was cleaning out at the church. I was cleaning out our youth closet, which I've been there for over a year now, and no one's asked me to do it. So I don't use it, so I've not needed to. And then I needed to, and I started cleaning it out, and I found out there are 3 360s in that mug.
360s? What?
And I was like, okay, this is just a sign from God. I've been wanting to play NCAA football for weeks now, and because if you don't know, if you have that game and you have any inclination to play it, go play it, and then you can go online, and there are these 5 to 10 dudes who every year spend hours upon hours updating the rosters and putting in present day players and their ratings into the game, which is incredible. But anyway, I've been wanting to play it, and
you just want to finally have Georgia be a good team in it. That's all.
Don't even, Mr. Stanford. Don't come at me, bro. All right. But anyway, so I go searching, and I was like, okay, I'll pick this. I'll go to GameStop and I'll pick up a copy of this game. Oh hell no, I'm not. The game cost used $70.
Yeah, what? because there's so many people out there like you that just want to be like, no, I just want to keep playing NC2A, and that was the last one they ever made. So
that game costs more than a brand new copy of the newest game that just came out.
Yeah,
that game. But here's the funny thing, and this is where I cannot defend GameStop, and I will not stand on their porch or their stoop anymore in this regard. Guess how much you get when you trade in the game?
What, $2?
Oh no, it's not that bad. It's not that ridiculous. Okay. But it's $70. They charge it used. They give you 20.
Oh. That's good.
If you can't see Shannon's face, that's the first time I've ever seen just true disgust on his face.
That's gross, dude. Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry for derailing us completely, but that was my question earlier.
That was the full dad disappointment.
Yeah.
I'm not mad, son. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even control that face. I mean, I pulled that. That was that's all instinct right there.
Yep.
Yeah, because normally Shannon, even when we're talking and he wants to interject or something, you can't really tell on his facial expressions that he's upset that Zach and I have completely commandeered his time. Right. But dadgummit, if we didn't just trigger something to show that he was upset.
One. I just wanted to go with one other thing before we move off of just last week's random ass episode where me and Shannon talked about bullshit movies for an hour. And so the other thing we were talking about Crawl, which I'm hyped to go see. So I don't know if you heard, Robbie, but me and my wife were watching John Wick 3.
Oh, so good.
And a trailer for Crawl came up, and I literally had said 0 words. No words from me were said. Even motion, and she just looks right over at me and is like, I cannot believe you're going to pay money to see that in a theater. And I'm like, what? Huh? Like, she's like, you are going to pay money to see that movie in a theater. And I'm like I said I was going to go rob a bank or something, like, you know, like that level of accusational tone. And I'm just like, I put probably, but okay. Like, she does not understand my obsession with bad, like, creature movies. And that's a bad movie. Like, I'm telling you right now, that movie's going to suck, but I'll probably love it in some weird way.
I wonder if it'll be better or worse than Hurricane Heist.
Hurricane Heist is pretty bad.
Hurricane Heist was in theaters for a week, right? I mean, like, that's basically when they pulled it.
And guess what? Your boy went and saw it.
You're one of the 5 people.
But that's because I have the AMC A-list thing.
Yeah, it must have been a slow movie week for you. Huh?
Oh my god, it was really rough. But Zach, I'll say this: Lisa's the exact same way when it comes to my obsession with horror movies. Like, specifically any kind of demon possession movie. She's like, Robbie, you are a walking paradox. You are a youth pastor, you are in seminary, and yet you love movies that deal with demons. And I'm like, Lisa, I just want to be prepared for a battle one day if I have to fight one. I just want to know.
What's that movie with Anthony Hopkins where he does all the exorcisms, but he's actually the demon?
The Rite.
Yeah, like, I mean, maybe you're just possessed.
Dude, I freaking just love those films, and Lisa thinks it's disgusting. And
just tell her they're all like The Exorcism of Emily Rose, where you think it's going to be a horror movie, and it turns out it's like a law film, and you're like, "What the fuck am I like?" Again, let's go back to court. That's what I'm here for. Like, yeah.
Lisa's mentality is, I'm not watching any movie where the killer or bad guy I can't stab in the face. Like, that's her mentality. If I can stab it or shoot it in the face, then we're good. But any kind of demon or demon children, anything like that, she ain't watching that shiz at all. I can't. What about
the Denzel Washington, John Goodman one? The
Fallen. The Fallen,
right? Yeah,
dude. If I showed her that movie, she would not sleep for days.
Oh yeah. That movie was creepy as hell. That was great.
Dude, Denzel Washington is that dude in that movie. His acting is so good. John Goodman, at the end, when he gets possessed, oh my gosh, he gets possessed, and you're like, John Goodman can act? What?
Right?
What?
Well, okay. I've been a huge fan of John Goodman's ever since Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, where he plays the Cyclops. Like, by the way, low key, best Coen Brothers movie. I'm just going to throw that out there.
100%. Like, 100%. I mean, most creative, best dialogue.
Well, okay, maybe not the best, but the most rewatchable out of any Coen Brothers movie. Like, if Brother, Where Art
Fargo's pretty. I can watch that movie. I can watch that movie any day of the week.
The difference for me is I got to be in the mindset to watch Fargo. You know, like, I can't. Yeah. If I'm just flipping around TV and Fargo's on, I might keep going. But if Oh Brother, Where Art Thou's on, I'm stopping.
Well, what sucks is that, unfortunately, FX may have made a better Fargo in seasons 1 and 2.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
Fargo.
That's a good point.
And if you have not watched that show, season 1 and 2 of Fargo is incredible. Like, it made me believe in Kirsten Dunst again.
But you can almost stop after season 2.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like,
I haven't watched season 3. Even though one of my favorite actors, Ian McGregor, plays 2 different characters, I just have no desire to watch it.
But yeah, if you haven't seen Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, watch that shit. Everyone in that movie is amazing. Like, soundtrack's amazing. Go watch Oh Brother, Where Art Thou. It's great. Where I started before we got derailed on possession movies, I watched Lake Placid, which I was very happy in my creature movie post that Justin Carter brought up, and because that's a movie. God damn it! Like, Betty White feeding the cow to the Deinosuchus that's living in the lake. Like, yeah, let's do this. And I didn't even know it was a Deinosuchus until, like, my son wandered in when he should have been asleep and saw a huge crocodile on the screen and was like, "Oh, sweet, a Deinosuchus." And I'm like,
which one's better, Lake Placid or Deep Blue Sea? I go Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, come on, you gotta go Deep Blue Sea.
Just for the Samuel Jackson death scene, you got to go Deep Blue Sea. Like, nothing
cool, Jay, bro.
Nothing that great happens in Lake Placid except for Betty White cursing like a sailor, but like other than that, like that's like the best thing that happens in that movie. But yeah, well, that, and we touched on it last week, but the magical shrinking and growing sharks in Deep Blue Sea are great. You know, like
it's so bad.
50 foot long makos that suddenly fit through doorways. It's like, wait, what the fuck? Like, okay, sure, yeah, no problem. It's in the kitchen. Why wouldn't it be? Do you miss the huge porthole on the left? Like,
I mean, are you a fan of Tremors? Like the original Tremors?
Oh, yes.
Did y'all mention that last week?
No, we didn't.
No,
you just sinned, and I've resurrected you. Okay.
Yes.
You see, Robbie, if you had listened to our podcast last week, we would have.
Dude, I don't listen to any episode. You know that. Okay. I hate the sound of my voice. All right.
You weren't on it last week. How can you say you hate the sound of your voice?
Well, I just had too much to do. I had a Giant Bomb episode to re-listen to.
You cut me deep.
But you would have known we didn't bring up the Graboids and the wonderful acting of Michael Gross.
But we did bring up Critters, and we did bring up Gremlins, and we did bring up other movies like that. I mean, that's got to have some redeeming quality.
No, you didn't bring up Tremors, the movie that literally from the years 2000 to 2005 is the reason why people watch USA Network, is because they just continuously showed that movie. It's like
that and Forrest Gump. Let's be honest.
It's true. It's like TNT and Black Hawk Down. Like it. If they didn't freaking show that movie every freaking Friday night from 2000 whatever.
And why did I always find it on like the scene where they're chasing the artery up the leg?
Yes.
You know, like every time.
Intense.
Every time.
And here's something else, and I have no idea why we are so derailed on movies with a video game podcast
for the second week in a row.
Yeah,
but if you take the time and just scene by scene watch and pay attention to what actors are in this movie, it is one of the greatest casts of all time.
Oh yeah, it's all like before they were big people.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Like.
And Josh Hartnett is so underrated. Like,
I was going to say, I think at the time, Josh Hartnett was the biggest actor in the movie. And now he's like, you know, if you were going to redo that poster, he's like the fifth name.
Yeah.
You know,
like, and I would say, oh my gosh, Penny Dreadful was like a resurgence for his career. If you have not watched Penny Dreadful, please go watch that show. Oh my gosh, it's so freaking good. But Josh Hartnett is like a key integral part of why that show is so good. Him and Eva Green is just go ahead.
Real quick. Will Lisa watch like Penny Dreadful and stuff like that? Or is it just specifically like possession horror movies she doesn't like?
Oh, possession horror. Like, no, she watched the first season of Penny Dreadful. She watched the crap out of, but then I think the second season came out when she deployed. And she never caught up. Like, she hasn't seen the second season of Fargo. Because she was deployed during that season. Did you watch Penny Dreadful? Oh, dude, then you're all about that life with me. Like that, they're so creative with how they handle Frankenstein. Oh my gosh, so good. So good.
Well,
anyway,
it was almost like American Horror Story before American Horror Story in a lot of ways. Yeah. You know, like you can see where they got a lot of that secret sauce from. And
it didn't go off the rails the way American Horror Story has after season 2.
Well, they just had to escalate. That was my problem. I stopped watching. What was Coven 3? American Horror Story?
Yeah, 3 was Coven.
Yeah, I stopped watching halfway through it, and I've been told that they right the ship and like next seasons after 3 get a lot better and all that, but like it lost me and I never went back.
Freak Show was 4, if I understand correctly. I stopped watching in Freak Show because I just lost interest.
Yeah, that was me. I was just like, okay.
But from what I heard, the Lady Gaga season in the hotel is like, there's a reason why she won an Emmy, like because it was an incredible season, and I appreciate them doing that show, but I swear I just wish it would have been one season and done, because that first season is so well. Shannon, are you about that life or no?
No.
Remember, Shannon doesn't play Resident Evil games. He's not about that life.
So Shannon, can I just imagine that your itinerary for TV is like all animation?
There is a lot of anime. There are a lot. I watched the Grand Tour.
October, baby. October, my hero.
Yeah, there's a Final Space, Archer.
Archer's so good. Oh my gosh, I
My
didn't know
Hero
you watched
Academia.
Archer.
Yep.
You watch some Friends reruns?
No, fuck Friends. Fuck that show.
Get some
Futurama?
Seinfeld.
Yeah, Futurama. Yeah, I'll watch Futurama.
I played with a guy on Overwatch last night. His username was Dr. Zoidberg. and I was like, dude, you have no idea how much I love that show. Like, it's so underrated. And there's some smart aleck guy. He was like, how can you call that underrated? Like, for 2 years, it was the most popular show on television. I was like, dude, I'm from Georgia. People don't understand that humor. Like,
yeah, right.
So when people talk about the show, they think it sucks. Like, so, but I think it.
Well, did the guys suck? And when you were yelling at him, he just yelled back, "You all have Zoidberg."
No, it was even better. Like, our team did so well. Like, we played for like 5 or 6 matches in a row together. And anytime he would get a play of the game, which was like 3 or 4 times, he would do the whole Zoidberg sound.
Nice. That's amazing. I love Futurama. That'd be a fun one to rank. Like
that dog episode.
Nope.
Is by far.
Don't know what you're talking about.
It makes me cry every time.
Just stop talking about it now.
Okay,
like,
right,
I don't want to.
Then I'll mention this one, the Amazons episode where
Death by Snoo.
Death by Snoo is so funny. The spirit is willing, but the body is mushy.
is spongy and bruised. Yeah.
Zach Gaffigan is greatest character ever.
No, the best character is Robot Devil. Robot Devil's the best.
Okay,
I love the Robot Devil so much.
That's really. Oh my gosh!
If I had to do a top 5 off the top of my head, Futurama episodes, and barring me forgetting something, Idle Hands or Robot Devil's Hands or Idle Playthings, the original like finale where he learns the holophoner, that with the Devil's Hands. That's up there. The one where he gets stung by the bee, or at least, she gets stung by the bee, and Fries keeps waking her up. That one. The Luck of the Fryish, the 7-leaf clover episode.
So good.
So goddamn good. So goddamn good.
Oh my god.
Amazon Women on whatever, I forget the actual name of it, but the Snoo episode is fucking so good.
It's Death by Snoo. And then you see their faces like excited, but also super sad. Wait, what is it? Who is it? Is it Fry? No, it's the green alien. I always forget his name.
Kif.
Kif is the one. The Kif is they like. Zach will get this group and Fry will get this group, and then he's like, he will have this group, and then he will have this group, and he will have this group, and he will have this group again.
Poor Kif. And then I probably the rounded out, I would go the one where the Poplars episode where she grabs the bat or grabs a whole thing of like, oh, this is amazing food, and it turns out they're the Omicron babies or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot that episode. And you better put the dog episode on there because
what dog? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Teenage Mutant Lisa Hurdles.
Shannon's losing it just by thinking about it.
Sorry.
It's okay. Like, I don't think my wife has seen a lot of Futurama. I know she's never seen Dave Chappelle show. Like, I bought
what?
Dude, I seriously, when I found this out, I went on Amazon and I bought the deluxe collector's edition Blu-ray of the entire show to show it to her. Because
all the Charlie Murphy skits are like the most, God.
No, just the fact that the first episode is where there's a white family and their name is the N-word. Like, that is the first episode.
Oh no, the first episode is the black KKK guy.
Oh, dude, it's both. It's both.
The blind one.
Yes.
Yeah. Clayton Bigsby.
You know you're black. What? Okay.
Now So a secret shame of mine. We're getting deep on this podcast now. I've lost sight of the rails. We've just started running away from the train at this point. So a secret shame of mine is my wife actually doesn't like the Chappelle Show. She's watched it. because I watch it all the time. She just doesn't think it's that funny, and I'm like, die. There are Black George Bush is the funniest goddamn thing, and I'll be on fire, and she's just looking at me like I don't get it. I'm just like, how do you not think? Like, come on,
dude. I can watch stories. I can watch stories from Charlie Murphy skits till the end of time.
Yeah,
like I don't have to watch another college football game. Just show me those skits over and over again. Game blouses.
Yeah, totally.
It's so freaking good. Oh my gosh.
And then he made us pancakes.
So Zach,
yes.
we have like a small bit of video game news to talk about?
Oh yeah, sure. What? Huh? I don't. Sure.
Like we went right off the side of Rainbow Road and just fell into that abyss.
Yeah.
And now Robbie's trying to bring us like.
I'm trying because I'm
what's
the little
dude with
cloud.
the fish hook?
Yeah, the cloud who comes over and brings you back. Because listen, I think we have like 2 pieces of news, and one is something that it's fine. We don't really care about.
Well, the one's actually because it was announced today that Cuphead is coming to Netflix as a cartoon, and I think that's a interesting idea. Like it's going to be one of those things where I could see it working with that pretty unique art style they have, and I don't really care beyond that much though. Like, does anyone else?
No.
Yeah.
I mean it's cool that it's got that much buzz about it to make it relevant, or hopefully to make it relevant on Netflix. But I don't know who they're going to try to target, because it kind of just seems like it's that art style was big maybe in the 50s and 60s.
I would go earlier than that, probably 30s and 40s.
Yeah, I mean, like that's like Betty Boop era, like animation style there, and
nice pull, sir.
Yeah, like deep cuts. My grandma's a big Betty Boop fan. But anyway, and then it's too. I mean, it's just so nobody who plays like the video games is gonna care. Like, I don't think that much about it. But we'll see. I mean, it's just a really weird pull. Like, there's a whole bunch of other stuff I'd rather go with.
So I think, they've announced last week that, the other side of this story is the DLC that was supposed to come out for Cuphead is now being pushed back to 2020. And I am now, that seems real coincidental all of a sudden. So now I'm wondering if they're purposely pushing back the DLC to line up with the release of the show. Like to kind of drive traffic one way or the other, but either way, as long as they can come up with like a decent writing staff, like I'll check it out. Just I am a big fan of the art style and the music and everything in the game. So, but it's so if Mugman and Cuphead have annoying ass voices, that's gonna ruin it.
I mean, let's look at 2020 though. I mean, like you're probably gonna have maybe the new Xbox console. So maybe instead of having a expansion pack for Cuphead, you just have a whole new game, and then maybe you have the Netflix series. Actually, that's a lot.
Looking at 2020, you know what I'm not going to have?
What?
A Netflix subscription. I probably won't have one. Like,
really?
I'll be in that Disney Plus life, man. Like,
and they announced today, like they confirmed the price and when it's coming, $7 a month.
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer.
And I got 2 kids, and I get the whole Disney library.
And they're taking I don't care about this, but they're taking The Office off of it. Like for me, it solidified the moment they tell me that all the Marvel MCU shows are on Disney Plus. Like, I'll miss Stranger Things, but I'm okay. And the movies that they have on there, you can actually, most of them you can buy digitally, you can rent digitally anyway.
Well, and also, I mean, let's be real. Most of the movies I watch are MCU movies, and they'll be on Disney Plus
and Disney Pixar.
Yeah,
so y'all can go watch Bug's Life and realize how wrong you are about how great that movie is.
That movie, I don't think holds up that well. I think the animation's a little.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. I can't bash that. No,
you're not wrong in the way that like the original Toy Story isn't all that good anymore. Like from an animation standpoint, like there's a lot of weird textures in those movies just because you could tell they had. It wasn't really until like Monsters Inc. that they kind of got their feet under them as far as textures go and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
and I'd say it wasn't even until Brave where they started caring about what's going on in the background, where you had big set pieces, you know. But no, I agree with you, Shannon. The animation may not be ideal, but it's still probably better than, I don't know, 90% of what DreamWorks has done outside of Shrek 1 and 2, and then How to Train Your Dragon.
I agree.
DreamWorks did Prince of Egypt, right? Is that right?
I don't know.
I actually like that movie.
Yeah, because I was going to say that's a real underrated gem. But if we're talking bad Pixar movies, let's talk Brave, because man, that movie sucks.
Right? Yeah, I like the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack's really cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to see more of the kid of the three brothers, the ones that were what turned into the bears. So I think they were more entertaining than the rest of the movie was. But
that movie smacked of, they tried to make it look a lot better and lost a lot of the creative process along the way. You know, you can tell all their energy went in one area.
Yeah, no steak, all sizzle.
Yeah,
so to speak.
But yeah, getting back to Cuphead.
I was going to mention just it really does seem like Netflix wasn't bullcrapping when they said that they were really going to buy into making TV shows, movies, whatever, based off video games. And look, we know Witcher's coming, and those photos came out. I don't know if y'all talked about that last week, but
we should touch on that because
dear gracious, he looks great.
He looks great as Geralt. Looks really solid, and that movie's going to live and die on its creature budget. You know, it just take that first battle in the game versus the Griffin, right?
Oh,
you could do that in the show and have it be the set piece for a 3-episode arc, and it would be amazing. But if that Griffin looks like dog crap, that's going to be a real embarrassing thing. You know what I mean? It's going to be one of those ooh.
Yeah. You know, and the tagline is something like the worst monsters are created. I don't know what that means, because in The Witcher, while you're facing these monsters from vampires to griffins to God knows what else, evil elves, the true monsters that they try to get across are the humans, and how evil humanity is. And I just kind of wonder what the storyline's gonna be, because I've read the books too, and what I hope it is. And if you've not read the first book of the series, the first book is chapter by chapter is just little vignettes of stories that he's gone on. And so I'm really curious as to where he's going and where the freaking crap is his second sword. Where's the second sword, bro?
Maybe he has to get it. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe that'll be the end of
And that'd be cool. The fact they put Yennefer and Ciri in this movie, in the show, is weird though, because Ciri doesn't come around until the third game.
Well, that's why I'm wondering if it's a dual timeline or 3 timeline show. You know, if part of it's in the past, part of it's now. One of those type of things, you know, he's flashing back and forth between the two.
I'm sorry, that sounds like a bad idea.
You're not wrong. I'm just it could be how it is. I don't know.
You know, Netflix puts out a gazillion different original products a year, but rarely do they get any kind of acclaim or focus by advertisement. And this one is really being promoted. This one is really step by step, just kind of with Stranger Things, it's kind of being, hey, this is coming, you know. And so
the Stranger Things one is weird to me though, where there's all of a sudden Stranger Things Nikes and clotheslines and stuff.
Yeah.
It's wait, really?
Okay. Back in January, I had the pleasure of walking through the mall that they were filming most of the show through. And it was cool just to, I got to see the actors, and I didn't meet them or anything, but it was still kind of cool. For those that don't know, most of Stranger Things is filmed in Georgia, everything that's filmed in Georgia.
It's nice to know that your malls can stand in for 1980s malls still. That's nice.
You know what? You're not wrong. I have nothing I can say there.
Do you still have an orange Julius in the food court? That's what I want to know.
No. Oh, guys.
Hot dog on a stick?
Yeah.
Rip Torn passed away.
Aw, Rip Torn?
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah. I'll be 100% honest. I didn't know he was still alive. So
I didn't either. I just saw it on Twitter that he passed
Ross
away.
Perot kicked the bucket today, too.
Ross Perot?
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, did not know he was still alive.
The only thing I remember about Ross Perot is on that TV show All That, the kids' version of SNL. They would make fun of him all the time.
Well,
Dana Carvey had a field day with him.
He was about the size of a large child, so I mean, makes sense. But,
what other news we got?
To be honest, not a hell of a lot out there right now. I mean, I think everyone's just kind of in a holding pattern, waiting for stuff to drop in next month, and Madden.
End of this month is Wolfenstein.
End of this month is Wolfenstein. And then, wait, wasn't there something else coming out real soon?
Marvel Ultimate Alliance for the Switch comes out.
Yeah. And
that
since
mobile game looking like freaking crap.
Looking better than the Square Enix game.
That's a very fair point. I have no argument there. Apparently, they're going to show more at Comic-Con, though. So we'll see.
I'm hyped to see what Ultimate Alliance reviews because it's one of those games where I played the first two and enjoyed them, but the art style and everything is such a departure in this one, and my guess is so that it runs on the Switch really well is why they did it. But if the gameplay holds up, if it's still there, that could probably be a Switch-worthy title, I would think.
I agree with you. I do have one other piece of news. Today they announced that Sub-Zero has been cast for the Mortal Kombat reboot. And I cannot remember his name. I'll have to look it up really quickly, but I can tell you what the actor is from. If you are a fan of the Raid movies, Raid 1 and Raid 2, which I highly recommend if you are a fan of martial arts films,
those are crazy.
The Raid films are probably my favorite martial arts movie ever. But in the second one, the main bad guy who our hero fights at the end with the knife scene. Do you remember that, Shannon?
No.
They're basically in a kitchen and they're fighting with knives. Well, that guy, the bad guy in that, is gonna play. He's gonna play. Here we go. He's going to play Sub-Zero, and he is also his name is Joe Taslim, and also highly recommended. Again, if you're a fan of martial arts films, go watch The Night Comes For Us. It's on Netflix. It is a foreign film, so you have to read subtitles. Sorry, guys. But it is just gross, some of the stuff that they're able to do, because martial arts is incredible to watch. So,
and I never learned how to read.
I wonder if I don't know his English. I don't know if it's good. I've never heard him speak English. I've only heard him speak Taiwanese. So
I thought you were going to tell me Sub-Zero casting went to Halle Bailey. I was going to be like, wow, that's going to have people in an uproar.
Yeah, everybody's got to get upset about everything.
Let's get upset about fictional things. It's so fun.
Yeah, I'm not opening that can of worms, but I completely agree with you.
You ruined my childhood. You're 34, Karen. Jesus.
A fictional film. Jeez Louise. And you know what? That goes. Oh, nope.
I look at your face. Look at your face. You want to so bad.
No,
you want to so bad.
I do.
It's right there. I can see it. It's like the reflection of that microphone. I can see it. It's just.
I want to talk about our favorite games. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
So Little Mermaid for NES, that game is up there. That's a hell of a game.
Under the sea.
Okay, so let's move on into our abbreviated. Oh, I wanted to hear that rant so badly.
Nope.
Our abbreviated what we've been playing segment, and since really all we've been playing is the stuff we've been talking about the last couple weeks, is where all of us seem to be in a bit of a holding pattern recently.
Guys, I've played a lot of Overwatch. I may have a problem.
Man, real quick, you know what I went back to was Jurassic Park Evolution, because Jonathan got me playing Zoo Tycoon, and which is fun, but like real simple. And then I went to Jurassic Park Evolution to kind of scratch that itch, but a more complicated version. And wow, that game was way too complicated. Like they need some Zoo Tycoon in that game. Like there are so many things where I'm like, why do I have to push 3 buttons for this? Why isn't this just one command? Like I don't understand.
Speaking of, do you have that little slugger baseball game for Xbox for him?
Oh no, I haven't gotten that.
I have my Xbox open right now.
Okay.
I have it. I just need to see what, I can't remember the name of the game, but because I know that he watched the home run derby last night.
Oh yeah,
and he's been all about that. Now he doesn't. I don't think he has licensed players. It's called Super Mega Baseball.
Okay.
Extra innings. It's just like it's so remedial in its controls and everything.
Yeah.
But I think he'll have a lot of fun with it. I'm sorry to.
No problem.
To tore off, but
yeah, no, actually, he will be about that because he's overnight become the world's biggest fan of what's his name?
Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Yeah, Vlad Guerrero Jr. Like
his horse crap he lost.
Well, I mean, as a quick aside, when the final round started, he hit 91 home runs at that point, and the guy who won hit 34. So I think he was a little more tired at that juncture.
You know what? And you know what he should do? Blame Ronald Acuna for straining his back and in the middle of that second round and not being able to fully connect.
Well, no, blame Jock Peterson for making him hit 50 home runs to advance in the second round. Like, that was insane. Like they should have just called it right there.
Match. That was a freaking boxing match, man. It was so great.
Oh, I like turned it off. I'm like, what? This is over. Oh wait, there's 2 more rounds. Oh crap! Like like insane.
I was at the gym and I was just I was like, there's no way he's gonna be able to hit as many as Vlad did.
No.
Yes, he did.
Well, and then he hits a streak. I am so sorry, you guys. We are so scatterbrained tonight. But he hits a streak where it was literally like pitch out, pitch out, pitch out, pitch out, like 10 in maybe 30 seconds. It was insane. Like it was just like chopping wood, just whack.
To analyze really quickly about this. The one thing I did notice that Acuna may have been his downfall, even though he hit 29 or 26 in the first round.
Yeah.
Everyone else outside of him was hitting to one spot over and over and over again. Acuna was just like all over the place. Like he was left field, center field, right field, and he was just like a rotation. And I kind of think that may have hurt him at the end. But,
well, I think that it just shows how, especially Peterson and guys like that, have their launch angle so locked in, where Acuna's just more of a contact guy. But anyway, that we can stop. Okay, so let's actually talk about games. Hey, 49 minutes into this. But so yeah, I thought it would be a fun idea to kind of bat around see what I did there. What we would consider our 10 out of 10 games. Like I'll throw one out there that you guys probably don't have on your list, but for me, a 10 out of 10 that I can go back to over and over and over and over again would be like the original Secret of Monkey Island. Now that game has flaws. It has problems. I understand. It's also a creature of its era, which was, late 80s point and click adventure games. But the storytelling is still great. The mechanics of that game still hold up. Like if you play either the original or the remaster that they released, fantastic games. And I would recommend it to anyone to play it. I think the humor is great. I think it still holds up really well. I think it is one of the few shining examples of comedy done well in video games, which is so hard to do. Like being funny in a video game in that medium is so difficult to pull off, and Monkey Island pulls it off fabulously.
We should do that in the future, like best comedy in games.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, because Because when you start to go down a list, it's like, oh, I can come up with some things. And then after that, those two that you think of immediately, you're like, oh yeah.
Dude, I only have two in my head. Like,
right?
I can't think of any more than two.
So that would be an example for me of a game that, even though it has some flaws, and I can understand why people would not like that game, but for me, the humor hits so good and the mechanics play so well. Like, the insult sword fighting is fabulous. It's still great. Like, just the way the story twists and turns, and the mayor and LeChuck and getting to the mayor's house and all that stuff. It's great. It still holds up well. I'd recommend it to anyone to play at any day. So that's kind of what we're talking about, though. So not those. It's not a game where like every critic is going to scream that it's perfect or whatever, but just for you personally, like, what is a 10 out of 10? So Shannon, what do you got?
Well, I think anybody who's listened to me, especially since the beginning of our podcast, is going to say that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is probably like one of those games for me. Like, I have easily put in over like 300 hours into that game, and I have no problems going back to it. No problems. Like, I continually go back to that game when I'm bored. And
so what is it? What is it about it though that really keeps drawing you?
I like the story. I like the characters. I liked the collection aspect of getting the different the blades that you can play with. It changes the style of how you want to attack and how you want to strategize with like the other people in your party. So I mean, like, and then the weapons. It's just everything about it. Like, I think it's just the collection aspect and the story, and then the fact that the expansion was basically just a whole new side story that you got that gave you more of the history about like what happened like 500 years like prior to when the main game actually takes place, and that's its own like standalone kind of like series, which was still a pretty beefy segment in its own. So I think it was just a good like game all the way around for me. I know there was some problems with the map and the displays, and to some people it was just a little too talky in some points, but I found the story engaging. I like the characters, I like the art style. So it's that good old comfort food. Like, I go and I play it, and I'm probably up to around I haven't looked at my time, but I'm probably up around 400 hours on that game probably right now.
All right, very impressive. What you got, Robbie?
I want to preface that this was just a really hard but fun exercise for me, because like at first when I was listening, I was like, man, I'm just making my top 5 favorite games. I was like, that's not what I'm supposed to do here. Like, I'm supposed to find games that are 10s out of 10s, not flawless like you said, but games that I would recommend to anyone and that I could go back to over and over again, but also the games that I feel like stick the landing and achieve what they are going for throughout the entire game.
Sure.
And so I'm just going to kind of go up my list. There is no ranking here, but I'm just going to go up my list. The first game that I have is actually Blitz 2000.
Nice.
All right.
That's a good game.
Great game.
I think like the first Blitz is fantastic. This is not to bash that one. I just think Blitz 2000 is better because Blitz 2000 I can still play today. In fact, I did a couple months ago. I had some dudes come over, like 8 guys come over, and we just spent an entire evening playing NFL Blitz together.
Dogpiling each other after the play was over.
Say again now?
So just dogpiling each other after the play was over?
Yes. And we remembered how to play it very quickly. I have to be braggadocious though for a second. Your boy here 2 different times caught and ran for a game-winning touchdown to win their little tournament. Nice. Because like I don't even play Blitz, but I never forget how to play Blitz. And the game is so much fun still to this day. I do not understand why EA or whoever the hell doesn't understand that gamers love arcade style sports games. And like, I'm not saying do it every year, but if they made a true NFL Blitz, an up-res remastered NFL Blitz, I think that game would sell like hotcakes. And I just every like the fact that you could just destroy everybody during the play and then after the play. And it's just so much fun, man. I love that game. I will never be tired of that game. And the day, like, I really hope that Nintendo will pay the money for whenever they release the N64 console mini, which, because they're going to do that.
Yeah.
I hope they put Blitz on there, because I just think I want to play that with my son so badly.
It's like, I don't understand why they let the NBA Street franchise go. Remember those games? They were
my gosh.
They were like NBA Jam for the next generation. Those were amazing. Man. Those are great games.
Like, I don't. Maybe they have more stats. Obviously, maybe they have the stats that show them otherwise.
Yeah, but maybe we were like the two people that bought it. I don't know, but like it's. Well, still, I
can tell you right now, Matt Sadler played those games too, and he loves them as well. So I can tell you what games though people didn't play were those bogus Xbox. Original Xbox NFL games.
Oh yeah, those were rough.
With Peyton Manning on the cover.
Yeah,
get that crap out of here.
Well, my next game is probably, I'm gonna assume, on Robbie's list as well, but that game is BioShock, the original BioShock.
It's not.
Oh, it's not. All right. Now I know I'm one of few, but I have a big love for BioShock 2. Yep. I think BioShock Infinite is a masterpiece.
Minerva's Den is so freaking good.
Yeah. Well, the problem there is Minerva's Den is better than the game of BioShock 2, but it still is. It's amazing. It's absolutely worth the price of admission. But and where BioShock Infinite is a masterpiece, there's just something about the original BioShock, the original world of Rapture, that pulls me in over and over again. I love the set design. I love the creature design, the whole thing where the inhabitants have gone insane, and the plasmids and the powers. It's a shame that the combat in the original BioShock is so clunky, because I think that's the thing that holds that game back. But everything else in that game pulls me screaming past how clunky that combat is. And I've played it. I can't tell you how many times I've played through BioShock, but it's one of those games I can always go back to. I just love it. It captures the imagination in a way I can't really speak to how many games have. Like the original BioShock, just something about it gripped me from the moment that plane crashes in the opening sequence, and
that water looks so good.
Yeah. and it hasn't changed. That game's been out 10 years now. And it's still, when you take down the plastic surgeon in that first real boss battle, right after you have the Big Daddy experience for the first time and all that in the, in that big plaza before his office, it's still just as gripping, just as compelling, just as disturbing as it was 10 years ago. And it'll just pull me right through that game. Like, I cannot help but love that game. So that would be my next one.
Nice. My next game, once again, shouldn't be a surprise to anybody who listens to the show, but I was going to say Borderlands 2.
All right.
I mean, that's another one.
Knew, like, if you would have given me $1 million, I would.
Yeah.
On what any of us would put, I would have put $1 million down that you were going to put Borderlands.
I mean, why? Like, I've played through that game with every character, like every expansion set that came out for it. I played it. Like, it's just, that game is money. Like, everything about it feels great. You want to talk about comedy in a game? Like, I like the comedy in that game as morbid or as twisted as you want it to sound. Like, the comedy in that game makes me laugh. Like, the shooting feels crisp, the guns are unique and fun to play with. The enemies are they're fun to go around and shoot and murder and shoot in the face, and it's just just a fun game. Like, it's a no-brainer for me. Robbie, what's yours?
For me,
well, just to piggyback out there real quick, I will say Borderlands 2 is one of the other few games that nails good comedy. Like, it, and a lot of it's in scripted moments, but like, man, does it nail it? It really just does. So, okay.
For me is Persona 4. I unfortunately, this is a game that it would have to be to a certain group of people who like JRPGs. but I just think Persona 4 is the perfect JRPG. Whether it's, go ahead, buddy.
I was gonna say that's not the one with the time restrictions on it. Like it goes in days. Is that the
whole Persona series is like that? Yeah,
okay.
like
that's the whole reason why I'm like it didn't strike me. Like I didn't like it. Is because it had that.
Oh man, like and see for me, like I liked it because it forces me to just stay out a little bit longer than I feel comfortable with. Like it forces me to just be a little bit more aggressive, and and if you've never played a Persona series, like you are this obscure random character in this world. You're a newcomer to this town, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, like you're there and you're stuck there, and then you have to build relationships, and you build relationships, and once you build those to a certain degree, you make your character, your fighting character in this fictional world, this other world, you make that character stronger. And so you want to build relationships, you want to build friendships, you want to build romantic relationships. And so you can have stronger characters in this fictional world where you are fighting bosses and fighting evil that is attacking the real town that you're living in. And look, Persona 4 is kind of like it's like most RPGs that I really just dive into, where I go 200 plus. I have put a lot of time into that game. My Vita, like I will never get rid of my Vita because I have that game on there and I have other JRPGs. But if someone tells me, "Hey, Robbie, I love JRPGs. What's the first one you'd recommend?" This is 100% that. And it's because of the style. It's because of the characters. The characters in Persona. I love Persona 5, but Persona 4 is so much better when it comes to characters and story and just, man, the fact that I don't want to spoil the game for people, but just the overall story is just incredible. And so yeah, that would be my next one.
All right. My next one, and I shouldn't really come as a surprise to anyone, but that reboot of God of War was one.
Dude, I almost put that on my list. I'm not kidding.
That reboot of God of War was one of the most, like, as far as recent game goes anyway, because like I've been playing games for 35 years at this point, so I've seen a lot of stuff. Like it takes a lot to kind of impress me, I should say, in a lot of ways when it comes to just games, but that game did in a way that, because I think just coming to it from a history of liking the God of War games, like I've played all of them at this point, even the PSP ones I played through and enjoyed, but there's a character depth and a story depth and breadth in the reboot of God of War that I did not see coming. I just didn't expect. I fully and absolutely admit that being a dad is part of that for me. But it was obviously, and I've said this before, but it was obviously written by someone that is a dad that has 100%. had these conversations with a child, that it's hard to talk about in some ways. Like it makes it, I have moments where I try to expand on what I think about this game, but it's difficult because it actually chokes me up, which is in itself astounding, because I'm not that guy, as most people that know me will tell you. But there are just moments when you take, the great mechanics, the axe throwing, the monsters, the mystical powers, the everything, that back and forth, you strip all that away, and there are moments in that game when it is just a dad trying to protect his son, and be it emotionally or physically, or just trying to prevent him seeing things that he shouldn't see yet, and things like that. And those are the moments, these little quiet moments, that they happen on the boat, they happen on the trail, they happen randomly in like a little cutscene here or there,
or a portal of light.
A portal of light, that when you come back and your son has slaughtered a room full of people screaming at you, wondering where you've been. It's those are the moments that got me in that game, and it's the reason why it's literally the first game I recommend to anyone that just got a PS4. I'm like, play God of War. You need to play God of War. It's special. It's a really, really amazing game. But yeah, it's that game. Like, it really is for me. It's probably for me the most important game of this generation. And that's, I think, the best compliment I could pay for it in reality. So yeah, I've God of War easily on that list.
Nice.
I gotta, like, truly of my list, God of War was number 6, but it was almost changed out by one of the games I'm going to mention here in my 2 turns from now.
Okay.
I just to echo, like, and the fact that so I played it when my son was just born, like he was like 2 months old. But then I started replaying it a couple months ago after he's like almost a year old, and just it's like night and day. Like, it just the effects that game has on me is like just behind the curtain, guys. Like, I've been working on an article or like a piece for our website for almost 6 months, but I can't. I keep crying while I'm writing it because I can't get through it, and it's just about how God of War gets fatherhood right, and the moment where Kratos, it's just like the first hour of the game where Kratos says he's talking to his dead wife, and he just says, "I can't do this without you." Yeah. Like, and how many times I've said that to my wife, like openly, like, and the fact that I have to, a year from now or next year, I'm gonna have to endure that without her. Like, it just hits me in a way that I can't even.
And
like,
but that's the whole thing is, no, but you can. Like, it's
I have to, like, and you have to, like,
and you can, because you have to, and that's the thing is there are conversations in that game like you will absolutely have with your kid. I mean, the circumstances are a little different here or there, but
just a tad,
but like, there are moments when it comes to like when it's okay to hurt someone, especially a boy. Like, I'm not to be sexist here or everything, but like, little boys are just aggressive in ways little girls aren't. And they play on the playground different than little girls. They do. I have one of each. I can speak to that. And it's, there are moments when it's like, when it's okay to defend yourself, when it's okay to run, when it's okay, like, these are conversations that exist in that game that, like, I have had with my 5-year-old, and it just talks to you. It just does. It's a special game. It's a real special game.
Like, I don't want to belabor because I want Shannon. I want to hear your next game, Shannon. But like, earlier today, there were people. So my son sometimes comes to staff meeting with me at church. I'm very thankful for my pastor letting me do that. But earlier today, Elijah was crawling towards some electrical cords that obviously would kill him if he got into those. And I pulled him away and said, "No." And he started crying, and I just looked at him and I said, "I don't care about your tears. Stay away from it." And some of the people some of the people on the staff were like looking at me like, "Man, I was kind of harsh." But then the other guy in the room who has sons was like, "Robbie, that's exactly how I would respond to my son." Like, you just can't do that, but there are times like this where Kratos interacts with oh my gosh, why can't I remember his son's name? Atreus.
Like, because you want to call him Loki.
Yeah. Where he interacts with Atreus the same way. Like, don't argue with me.
Yeah. It's the old, because I'm your dad. That's why. Shut up. Yeah. Like, which we all got, growing up. It's just like, So it's just one of those things. It's conversations fathers have with their sons that mothers don't have with their sons. That's really what it is. And it's it's stunning to see it done in this medium. You know, we all can point to movies and books that have had these moments, but like it's the first one I can really speak to in a video game format where it comes across so powerfully. That's all.
Sorry, Shannon, your turn, buddy.
We've derailed it. So Shannon,
no, it's not derailing. You're talking about why you like that game. But I'm going to switch it up a little bit and go on the lighter side, and I'm going to say a game called Dungeon Defenders. I don't know if you guys have ever dabbled in that game.
Dungeon Defenders.
Yeah, it was. It came out on Xbox Live maybe. I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago, like a while back, probably when the 360 was still like going. But it's basically a tower defense type game. But you have you get to choose like whether you have like a monk, an archer, a warrior, or a wizard, and then based off of the character that you choose, you get certain defenses that you can put throughout the castle. So it starts out with you being able to place your defenses, at choke points, and getting your wall set up, your attack set up, based off of the materials that you have. And then once you start the waves coming at you, you can go down to like your character, and then you can like get in the battle. So it has like this puzzle aspect of it where you're strategically placing your defenses, but then it also has like this over the shoulder third person like style like on the ground level like attack like thing. So you can run to where there's like heavier battles or to where your defenses aren't as strong, and you kind of defend your crystal and your castle. It's a fun, very simple game to learn, and it's got a lot of levels to it, and I went through almost all of them. And it's like I said, it's just one of those games where you can like just sit down after a long day. If you got like maybe like 5 or 10 minutes that you want to play a game, like it's really easy to just pick it up, play like a couple games just to kind of take the edge off of your day, and then go back and chill and just hang out. So it got me through a lot of like crappy days at work, and I still play it every once in a while. There is a sequel to it that came out for the Xbox One, Dungeon Defenders 2. It's good. I think they tried to get a little bit more fancy with some of the controls, so it's lost some of its simplicity. But I would still give it a try if you're looking for something to just kind of break up the monotony between like first-person shooters or RPGs or whatever you're binging on currently. If you want something that's a nice little like departure from it, I would probably recommend it.
All right, that's one I haven't really heard of, so that's exciting. I will definitely check that out. All right, Robbie, what you got?
There's no way in hell that anyone who has listened to me since we were at our first podcast together,
don't say it,
that would not know that this game was not going to be on this list. It is the best of the series. It is the game that got me through my wife's deployment. It is the game that I talk about when I talk about this era of video games outside of God of War, Spider-Man, and Horizon. It's Metal Gear Solid 5.
You said it. You said like
I did.
We had such a good streak where you didn't mention that game at all.
Yeah. Well, guess what? You shouldn't have asked me what games I think are 10 out of 10. And look,
can someone Fulton me out of this conversation?
Yeah, because listen, you know what? The Fulton thing is where I'll start. The fact that me and my brother Ryan also played through the game at that time with me. The fact that him and I would text each other or call each other and say, "Man, I just see these crates in real life," and I'm like, "Man, I could Fulton those out of here right now." Like, look, there are people.
I will give you this, kind of like recalling the axe in God of War. Fultoning was never not awesome. Like it was never not the best thing in that game.
And then when you fully upgraded it and you got the Wart Fulton, like it just look, okay. So real talk. I know there are people who I understand the people's critiques or problems with this game, but the gameplay of this, the way they did the missions, the way you could collect tapes and play certain licensed music or unlicensed music throughout the game, the way that every part of the game was a game for you. whether it was, like I said, whether it was collecting your tape deck and becoming your own personal DJ, and while you're doing certain missions and you just happen to make a playlist and you put Flight of the Valkyries at the right spot, and so you're in the middle of the most tense part of the game and Flight of the Valkyries comes on and you're just like, F yeah, I can do this now. And I think the story does a lot of good where people don't like it, and that's perfectly fine. But I think the story does some incredible things. I think the moment of that game hit me the right way, and I think a part of that is because I played the entire series earlier that year for the first time in my life, and I had never played the series before. And so for people who don't realize this, like, yes, I mentioned Metal Gear a lot, but I didn't play the games when they came out on PlayStation. I played them in 2015 for the first time, all of them, and I just became a huge fan of the series and of Kojima. And like the fact that you could play certain like you could hide in a bathroom and play a recording of taking a poop just so a guy wouldn't catch you. Like that is so stupid, but yet so fun. The gunplay was incredible. The combat was awesome. The mission layout was great.
I will agree with you there. Also, it was the first Metal Gear I played where it felt modern. Like the combat aspect of it didn't feel like this clunky relic from a PlayStation. You know,
like I have trouble playing 3. I think 3 is rough at times playing combat wise, but Metal Gear Solid 5. Again, like you open the game opens up with David Bowie. Like it just, and I know I'm mentioning the music a lot because I think just music plays such a huge role in the game. But visually, it's stunning. And you get to play as the original Snake. You get to play as Big Boss. And again, that moment, and I will not spoil this game for anybody, but the moment in that game where everything is revealed is just so like you drop your controller and you're like, what the F? But no, I think Metal Gear Solid 5 is a masterpiece in a lot of ways. And yeah, so if anybody wants to get upset for why it's mentioned again, blame Zach for this exercise.
All right, no problem. I'll take it for this time. Now, I'd cut it off at 5 just because I didn't want this podcast to go forever. And this last one for me was way more difficult than I thought it would be. This last, because okay, so
you're only at 4. You're only at 4.
Oh, it's only at 4. Mm-hmm. So I got. Oh, wait, where did I? Oh, that's because I jumped around on my list. Haha. Okay. So then my number 4 game is again. If you've listened to me for 4 years now,
if you say that freaking game, I'm going to punch you in the throat.
What game?
Black.
No,
just
yeah. No, the game I'm going to mention is StarCraft. StarCraft. I mean, it's the best RTS ever created. It hands down. I mean, it's
hands down. You're going to say hands down?
Yeah. What's better?
I would say Red Alert 2.
No. Red Alert 2 is so imbalanced. Tanya makes that game so imbalanced. It's ridiculous. Like,
oh shiz. Oh, but
like
the plasma towers, the
Tesla coils and the plasma towers. And
like you never like, because in the first Red Alert and in the first Command & Conquer, when if you got Tesla coils in the right positions, you were almost unbeatable in that game. And the fact that they added plasma towers to give you something to counter that. And then your soldiers could burrow down and become like a little minigun, like. But you're right, Tanya. If you got Tanya, you're like, okay, OP, like I'm about to win this.
Yeah, if you got Tanya, you win. Like, and
that's fair.
And that's the thing that StarCraft has, even over StarCraft 2, which I think
so
is
much balance.
A great game. It is incredibly balanced, and there are moments I have had playing StarCraft 2, like being in a 6-player game and getting down to where you're the last 2 and you haven't been attacked for 20 minutes and you don't know what the hell's going on. And say you're the Protoss. And so you're like, screw it. I'm going to roll out 12 carriers fully loaded and let's just go see what happens. And the first time those things encounter anything and the swarm goes out and just levels the play. It's like the best feeling playing a RTS I've ever had in my life. Like it to this day. I have acute muscle memory for that game. Like I haven't played a game of OG StarCraft in probably 2 years at this point, and I have no doubt that I could sit at a keyboard tomorrow and do really well. It's just ingrained in me at this point. It's part of just my brain is StarCraft at this juncture, and it to me it's the best balanced, best just best RTS period that's ever been made. And I mean, there's been a lot of them. There's been a lot of really good ones, and nothing tops the original StarCraft for me. So
nice. Well, I'm gonna go with the Fire Emblem series. Like the Birthright is probably the one that I cut my teeth on for the Fire Emblem. So I got in late in the series, but then I went back and did the Fire Emblem Fates and what was the other one? I forget what it was, but it just basically started my whole like jaunt into that whole like series. So Birthright is the one that I like the most. It's a good strategy game. Like I like it better for me. Like it sits better with me than like a Final Fantasy Tactics game. I like the story a little bit better. And I like the portability that I had with my 3DS. I could just take that game anywhere and just kind of play it and knock out a couple levels. I do like the fact that there's 2 different modes for the game. So if you want to play a more challenging game, when the characters die, they're done for good. And it affects the storyline, or if you want to play in a more casual setting, you can just have the characters, if they die, they just kind of get knocked out and then they're out for that level. So, there's a lot of customization there as far as like the skill level and how you want to play and how much fun you want to have with it. And, it's just, it's a good series. So I'm super stoked for, the new one to come out at the end of the month. I really want my 3 houses.
Well, I mean, that was a good way to cheat and name like 4 games. But, that's all right. I'll allow it.
It's a series. I'm just saying,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
them are great.
Zach, we're always dealing with that guy who's just, trying to do a little bit more than asked.
Just trying to find a way to work the system. I get it. I appreciate it.
This game almost got changed out for God of War, and I know there's gonna be some people who are like, "Oh man, how could you change that out?" But Last of Us is the 4th game. I am a huge fan of Naughty Dog, as everyone knows. I think Uncharted's combat is very competent and still fun to play, and I think their storytelling is incredible. The only game, there are very few games that I've ever played that story and characters are better than this. And someone may say this is the greatest story and character combination ever. And if you catch me on the right day, I may agree with you. But The Last of Us is about a guy named Joel who's down on his luck, who's just trying to survive, who's just the epitome of a survivor. And he is thrown into a situation where he's not asked, he is thrown into a situation where he has to protect a girl who he doesn't know, who he doesn't get along with early on. And so begins just one of the greatest relationships in a video game I've ever played. And the gameplay is perfect and it's visceral because the world is visceral and it's tough and it's hard and you have to be patient and you have to be willing to just say, I'm not going to have that fight right now. And it's like surviving a zombie apocalypse. And they can say, oh, it's not zombies. No, mother effer, it's zombies. Okay, so just shut up. But the music in that game, the beauty of that game, and look, I'll be honest with you. There's a part of me that has a little bit. I'm gonna play it, but there's a little part of me that has a little bit of animosity towards Naughty Dog because I did not need a second game.
Yeah,
I did not need a sequel.
I feel you on that.
I think the game is as close to perfect and a 10 out of 10 as you're going to get, universally, and so yeah, I love this game. I think this game. Go ahead.
That intro.
Oh my gosh,
the first 5 minutes of that game, dude.
Yeah, just like you want to talk about darkest openings, like Heavy Rain, Ori and the Blind Forest. But number one has to be this.
Yeah, that's a way to kick you in the teeth to start a game for sure. Like for sure.
I was not ready for that. I'll tell you right now. Like I don't, dude. Yeah.
Okay. So
I think I had to set the controller down.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. Okay.
And so this game, like, just really quickly, like my wife wants me to play through this game. So she's watching me play several games. But she only got to see the opening 20 minutes of Last of Us. She didn't get to see the rest of the game being played. So my plan is in the later this year, hopefully during Thanksgiving break or something like that, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna play through it again. But yeah, I just think Last of Us is awesome.
Nice.
All right. Well, so now I'm actually at number 5. And this one was difficult for me because games like Horizon were in consideration for me because that's a game I
almost made my list.
Yeah, I played to death, and I love the world building, love the creature design. It's just a game that I could play forever. Infamous 2 almost made my list because that's another one that just I couldn't stop playing that game. I 100%ed it and then kept going. Spider-Man was on that same track. Something about Spider-Man kept me playing Spider-Man. But when I thought long and hard about it, what a lot of these games had in common for me on my list was just the impact they made on me, and as just the story that they made me think of or relate to. And so that game for me, number 5 is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. And that game is important in a way that I think missed a lot of people. If you have people in your life that are mentally not well, it's a game that speaks to you in a lot of ways. The audio design in that game is like nothing I've ever seen. Heard, I guess I should say. But
FMV is done so well.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing where you go through the whole story and it becomes a like, what did I actually just do? Like that, it's not clear. It's not really, you've taken this character on this fantastical journey. You've conquered, a lot of demons along the way, in her mind, real ones. You've seen a lot of sights. You've gone through a lot of realms. But what did you actually do in the game is a question that's left hanging there at the end of it that isn't really possible to answer with what they've given you. And I think that's the point. Like the point is, even though Senua has gone through this fantastical journey, I don't think she knows. And the game is just, having been really close with someone that was really not well and is no longer with us, it got to me on a lot of levels. There were a lot of moments in that game where, like I had to just like set it down and walk away for a second, but I had to keep going because I had to see where it was going and I had to see what would happen to this character. Like you become attached to Senua through this process in a way that I think is purposeful. And I think that it's through storytelling and character design and all that. But you have this strong, tenacious character in Senua that at the same time seems like she could break like a glass at any minute. And it's a fantastic balance. The voiceovers and if you are interested in what this game is about, look up the YouTube of just the opening sequence of this game. Listen to it with headphones. And if that doesn't hook you, you probably shouldn't play this game. But Yeah, I highly recommend headphones with this game. The voices in the head.
I don't think it's a recommendation. I think it's a must.
Yeah, you almost have to.
If you don't have surround sound, like if you have to worry about volume at all in your home, which all three of us do at times, 100%, you have to play this game because it's not just what you're told. It's what's being said in the background that is so important.
There's the main narrator who is fantastic.
Yeah, give that dude an Oscar.
Yeah, she kills it. I mean, she's so good, like just the main narrator. But then, like to Robbie's point, you'll be in the middle of a battle and like you'll hear with headphones, you'll hear people like behind you, stuff like that. And there's a guy right behind you that you've got to turn to vet, like, or you'll hear a voice in your head mocking you, like, you can't do this. What are you like? Get out of here. Run, like telling her, giving her bad advice and like doing her, bad things while she's in the middle of these struggles. And it spoke to me so deeply. It was such a great moving story. And I can't recommend it enough. It's one of those games, kind of like I was saying about God of War. It's just special. It's a special game. And it's a story that can only be told in this medium, which I think is really important.
100%. So, Shannon, what about you, buddy?
Wow, like it's hard to follow that up, but I think it's more of a game that I wish would be remade. But like the Need for Speed series, I think for a long time has been kind of
poopy.
Yeah. But I think the last one I really enjoyed playing was Hot Pursuit. The one where you were the police officer.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
Dude. You could get online and you could just like wreck people, get in like, get in your police car, set your speed traps, set your like spike traps, like whatever. Like you could just go online and you could just wreck people like all night if you really wanted to. That game I love. And I wish that there was a remake of that game, like just an updated version of it, because I would play the hell out of that game all over again. Like I don't know what it was about the team that they had making that game at that time, but the controls felt crisp, they felt like responsive, the cars were great, the graphics were like decent for the time. Like if they just kind of like
rain animation was
gorgeous. The rain animation was gorgeous. Like I mean, I just loved everything about that game. Like I just when I got home, like all I wanted to do was play that game until I went to bed. So, I mean, I would say remake that game, please, EA, and you might get back in my good graces. But
I mean, as much as I like Burnout Paradise, Hot Pursuit was better than Burnout Paradise in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, and like I like Forza and I like all those games. They're gorgeous. Don't get me wrong, but like there was just that competitive edge. Like it just takes it to that next level. Like, now you actually have like a purpose to go out there and like look for people and do the multiplayer and, be the cop or be the, be the racer, whatever you wanted to be. Like it just made it fun. Like that game was fun to play like all the time. So that was my number 5.
That's a rock solid pick. That's a really good one.
Mm-hmm. For me, my last game, it's the game that I tell everyone is my favorite game of all time. And that's BioShock Infinite. I think the first BioShock game is perfect in itself, but BioShock Infinite for me, just there was no clunkiness with the controls. The combat was so beautiful. It was so fun. The skyhook, it is a sin that is not in other games.
Right.
Like, say whatever you will about the development process of that game. I think they made a perfect game. And I think the story, rarely do games deal with time travel, interdimensional travel, and just that kind of weirdness and hit the landing. And you don't walk away saying, but what about this? What about that? The plot holes, like you're finding plot holes. And I'm sorry, but in this game, there's not plot holes because they fully explain it to a degree that you understand and that anybody could understand. And
I would argue they almost explain it to a fault. You know what I mean? Like they almost over explain it.
Well, that's because Lutece twins throughout the entire game. Yeah. Like just but
then when you figure out like the reality of them, it's like okay. Like
and just like if just sometimes I'll be thinking about that game, and I play through it every year. Since this come out, I've played through it every year, and I'll play it later this year, probably during my live stream of for Extra Life. But like the Lutece twins back and forth is so fun. Like one of my favorite lines is, it's just like a plate of food. Like you can't mix the carrots and the peas. Like you have to keep them separate. Like and they're talking about interdimensional travel.
Yeah.
And then at the core of it, while you have this huge bombastic story going on, you have this huge world, a city flying in the clouds. At the root of it, it's about a man who is trying to make up for one of the worst decisions he ever made in his life. And how I met Troy Baker. I had a chance to meet him and talk to him for several minutes. It wasn't just like a quick flyby. Like I got to sit down and talk to him. And like he was like, "Hey man, you want me to sign something for you?" Like, and I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, do you have a Joel figure for me to sign?" I was like, "No, actually, I have a Booker figure for you to sign." And I was like, "Man, I actually prefer you as Booker than I do Joel." And he was like, "Really?" I was like, and he's like, "Why?" And we just started I started nerding out about this game, and I was like, "Man, this game is so much about it's not about the choices you make. It's about the choices you make after the choices you make. It's about what you're going to do after you've made bad choices." And for me, just as someone who feels like he's made so many horrible mistakes in his life, and the fact that I've gotten a chance to rectify them. Like Booker had a chance to rectify it, and he didn't even know it. Like he doesn't even know he's rectifying it until the very end. And I love that game so much. And look, if you don't like the game as much as BioShock, which I know Zach you don't, but like, and I understand the lady Comstock boss battle is not fun. No. But that fight lasts 10 minutes, and 10 minutes in an otherwise 12 to 15 hour perfect adventure for me is well worth it. And then add on the Burial at Sea DLC, like just it's over for me. Like
that moment right at the end when you go back to Rapture.
Yes.
It's it's just like, wait, what? Like that's when they start to kick down the door of like what's actually happening there. And it becomes a moment. It's just jaw dropping when it happens.
There's always a man. There's always a lighthouse. There's always that's why I'll play anything Ken Levine ever makes.
But I love the thing, like when you find the audio log of the guy who's figured out the riffs and he's going into other dimensions and pulling songs out to come back and sell the music. And that's why like all these people have these modern songs, but they're singing them in like weird old timey ways and stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, this is great. Like, it's just little details like that.
And the artwork is gorgeous. Like, and I think a game like BioShock Infinite, 20 years from now actually look better than other games that look better now because of the art style, because it's kind of like just, it's not a visual graphic. It's a hand-drawn character. Like it's beautiful art. But then the first time you walk out on the veranda and you hear those guys singing God Only Knows, or you hear them singing Beach Boys, like just, and then the, oh my gosh, why can't I remember the name of the giant creature?
Songbird.
And like the fact that you don't get to fight Songbird is really disappointing. Like I won't lie, just because the build up and if you've never gotten to see you didn't care or whatever, go watch the original E3 trailer for this game, and just the fact you were going to get to fight the Songbird. Like anyway,
I do think though, by making Songbird in the end a tragic character, it was an unexpected turn, but one that felt completely natural when it happened.
It resonated so well.
Yeah, like you end that game genuinely feeling bad for Songbird. Like, and when you're 6 hours in that game, you don't think that could ever happen. Like that is
they pull a Snape on you. Like they pull a Snape, and Elizabeth is so well done too. Like
Oh, and I love that she's just not a damsel in distress. Like she's her
No,
own
no.
character. She's doing her own thing. You're riding shotgun to her, like pretty
Yeah.
much that entire trip, you know.
Like, and you know, so many people that year in 2013 compared, and rightfully so, I guess, compared Last of Us to BioShock Infinite, you know, because they both came out the same year. They're the last big games on the 360 and PS3. And for me, I'm the one who walked away saying I think BioShock Infinite is better. And I understand that 90% of people thought the exact opposite. But for me, just BioShock Infinite resonated with me in a way that I had never seen a story like that before. Mm-hmm. Like I had never played a story like Last of Us. No, I'm minimalizing it on purpose just for this conversation. But I've seen The Road. I've read the book The Road. Like Last of Us is The Road. Mm-hmm. Like BioShock Infinite. Like BioShock Infinite, I had never played a game like that before as far as story. You know, like, and so but anyway, I'm sorry. Zach, do you have one more game, or is that 5 for you?
That was 5. So
right on.
All right. Well, we have done it. I'd love to hear what other people's takes
Please,
on this are.
I would love to hear theirs.
When this goes up, we'll make a post, and I really want to hear what other people think, because I'm sure we're all wrong, and I can't wait for you to tell me. But so that's got to be our show for today. Thanks for riding on this crazy train with us. The wheels done come off a few times, but I think we saved it. So if you want, follow us on That Pixel Life, That Pixel Life Facebook group. It's facebook.com/thatpixellife, and get at us there. We're getting some good conversations lately, which I would love for you to be a part of. Get at us at That Pixel Life on Twitter, which is something I really need to get back in the habit of doing. That's my bad, guys. I've been dragging my feet on Twitter these days.
Well, it's because Woj is filling up your Twitter with NBA.
Yeah, I've kind of just been all sports lately on my Twitters, and I need to rectify those habits. So I'll get back to that in good time. But in the meantime, Shannon, Robbie, got anything else?
No, I don't got anything right now.
All right.
Go watch Spider-Man.
All right. I will do that. I'll take that advice. And to Shannon's point, I will see Spider-Man before I see Crawl, or Shannon will.
I will flip a table.
Yeah, he will flip a table at me, which, tables are heavy. I don't want anyone coming at me. It's good. But in the interim, I hope you all have a great week. And like Robert Seltenpool loves to say, if you can be anything, be great.
Bye.
All right.
Export.
Let's convert this shit.
I'm just exporting freaking right now.
That's right, Robbie. You do that. My Audacity crashed. That's great. Let's see if it comes back. Let's see if it comes back, shall we?
I almost put the first Guacamelee